Yo, what's good with you? Back in black with another Enlisted video. If you guys are new to the channel and you love shooting games just like me, make sure you aim for that like button and shoot that subscribe button as well. It'll help you find better teammates and improve your skill-based matchmaking. Today's video is going to be a comprehensive guide on mastering the Radiomen squad and playing them at peak efficiency. Honestly, a video I should have made a while ago, but that's neither here nor there. I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. Obviously, the functionality of artillery in real life is to support a unit's advance or destroy heavily entrenched positions or vehicles. The only way you can communicate with your said artillery battery is by keeping your radiomen alive, and as such, I feel that preservation is the name of the game when it comes to this squad. And very often I will find that what other players will do with this squad is that they will spawn in, call in one barrage or one bombing run, basically say fuck it all, and then run into the middle of the battlefield and die. And if I'm being quite real with you, that is not how you play this squad at peak efficiency. All that being said, honestly speaking, I would be a liar if I told you guys that I never used a Radiomen squad like that in the past. I have, but honestly, upon reflection, my issue with that gameplay strategy is that you are basically throwing away the support role and hoping that somebody else on your team will take up that mantle and do it nearly as effective as you. And if I have learned one thing about randoms in this game, I will pose this question to you. Do you really want to leave the fate of whether you win or lose in the hands of a random player? Yeah, nah, I didn't think so either. But neither here nor there, going off on a tangent, one of the more important notes when it comes to artillery is your placement, because if you're not hitting anything with it, you're essentially wasting your time and you're wasting your team's time as well. An important note is that a lot of this is dependent on the campaign and map in particular, as not all capture points are featuring wide open skies for you to rain shells down upon your foes. But even for those points that do have a roof over them, what you can do and what you'll see me do very often is that I will use the artillery to zone off the enemy from reinforcing the point instead of trying to use it to clear the point of enemies to begin with. Obviously, the roof is going to be preventing you from killing people inside the point, so what you gotta do is, like I said, you want to place the artillery behind the point. As such, any enemy who has already died and is trying to make their way back to the point to reinforce will be met with some seemingly random and unfortunate surprises from the sky. I'm not sure if anyone has noticed this either, but the developers have also recently dimmed the red dots on the map, making it harder to tell when artillery is coming in, generally speaking. And considering all the nerfs that artillery and bombing runs have received as of late, you could technically consider this an inadvertent buff. When it comes to using the bombing run in this game, in my personal opinion, I would recommend using it as sparingly as possible, and there are only 3 scenarios that I can even think of where using a bombing run would even be considered a justifiable thing. The first one is going to be at the very beginning of the game, but once you do that, you essentially render your Radiomen squad useless for an extended period of time, so you might as well run out there in the middle of the battlefield and die. The second scenario is going to be near the end of the game when you know the enemy is going to be trying their hardest to defend their last point. And of course, the third scenario is where you and your team are essentially running into a brick wall and you cannot think of any other trump card that could essentially save your team from taking a basically guaranteed L. But yeah, man, my main reasoning against using the bombing run as often as possible is because the time that you have to wait before you can call in any other type of strike for your team is so exponential that you probably could have called in 3 regular artillery barrages in that same amount of wait time. So like I said, you're essentially rendering your Radiomen squad useless. In the same respect to the smoke barrage, I find that one to be pretty useless, simply because you could have used that same barrage to actually kill the enemy instead of just making it harder for them to see and making it harder for your team to see as well. If the Enlisted developers actually do want to make smoke barrages something that people use, because I rarely ever see them, if ever, I would recommend putting them on a separate timer from lethal artillery. Maybe there could be a regular artillery timer and a smoke artillery timer. That way the offensive team could use that to make their assault easier, or the defensive team could use it to make it harder for the enemy to see and take advantage of that extra time to make some machine gun nests or maybe anti-tank guns or something of that nature. When it comes to the gameplay methodology of using this squad, I do understand earlier I told you guys preservation is the name of the game. I just don't want you guys to take that literally and think that you guys gotta sit in the back of the map trying to stay alive as much as possible. You can get really big kill streaks using direct and indirect fire with this squad. I just want to put a lot of emphasis on the fact that you want to focus on playing at range and you want to focus on playing off the blanks as much as possible. This game in particular, you will notice that my team is doing a really good job keeping that pressure on the enemy team without me having to actually be on the point getting all the kills myself, which is very rare in itself, but also just shows credence to how effective your team can be overall when you guys have really good artillery support. Overall, I'm not going to say the Radiomen squad is my favorite way to play Enlisted or anything like that, but what I have noticed about this squad in particular is that this is an exquisite way to improve your kill death ratio while being an immensely supportive member to your team and contributing to victory indirectly. I understand why the quantity of the squad members that you're allowed to have with this squad is so limited, and I also understand why bombing runs and artillery in general has been nerfed so many times up until this point, while still managing to be highly effective within the right hands, of course. All that being said, I hope I have made this squad easier for you to understand how to use it in the most effective fashion that you can. Crazy thing is, this gameplay isn't even as good as it could be, considering the fact that I lost both my engineers at the very beginning to that plane. I could have been making way more rally points and I could have been having way more ammo to shoot more enemies with instead of running out at the end. And of course I couldn't ask my AI for more because he decided to run at the enemy with a knife for some odd reason. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the gameplay. I do appreciate you guys for watching. Don't forget to aim for that like button and shoot that subscribe button as well. Help you find better teammates, improve your skill-based matchmaking. And yeah, black guy out.